It's Friday, and that means we are covering the courts. I'm Grace Runkle, and I'm going to walk you through the big cases that we're looking ahead to in the next week. The first one, though, is in Greenville County, so let's get started. Now, this is a hearing that's going to be coming up, scheduled for one of the many lawsuits involving Rockstar Cheer. Last year, a series of lawsuits were filed following the death of the Cheer Gym's founder, Scott Foster. He took his own life while being investigated for sexual misconduct. A series of John and Jane Does, all former athletes of the gym, filed lawsuits alleging coaches supplied them with alcohol and drugs. Some also say coaches, including Foster, inappropriately touched them and in some cases assaulted them. Next week's hearing is on a motion by the plaintiffs asking the judge to compel the defendants to take part in the discovery process, so essentially to share the information that they plan to present during trial. Now, an update out of Lawrence County. You might remember last week we told you about Savannah Morgan. Well, she pleaded guilty to unlawful neglect of a child. She was arrested back in 2015. Here's a look at her house. Investigators say one of her children was found unconscious and had to be airlifted to a hospital for treatment. They also say that they found evidence he'd been abused on his body. Investigators say that the family was living in filth with about 90 dead animals in the home. Morgan told investigators that her son was in his crib when she heard him choking. She said that she picked him up but accidentally dropped him after tripping over a cat. The toddler had a traumatic brain injury and bruises on his back. Prosecutors at the hearing said that a doctor was willing to testify that the child's injuries were consistent with shaken baby syndrome and child abuse. The child and his 3 siblings have been adopted by their paternal grandmother. She says that the child has trouble walking, eating, and speaking, but she considers it a miracle he's still alive.
Every single one of his doctors and his specialists all say shaken baby. In fact, his neurologist had said that not only was he shaken, but he was rather thrown or hit, like hit in the head with something. He's on the more immature side since he's developmentally delayed, so he watches a lot of toddler level cartoons, carries around his blankie still. So he struggles through everything. Every task is a struggle for him.
And during the court hearing, Morgan admitted that she was responsible for her son's injuries, but she denied she had abused him. She was sentenced to 7 years in prison, suspended to 3 years behind bars, plus 3 years probation. And you can find the full coverage of that story in our Fox Carolina News app, and make sure you check next week in that same place for our next Covering the Courts. We'll walk you through the next big set of cases that we'll be looking at.
Thanks for watching Fox Carolina News. Watch us live wherever you are, on our mobile, on our streaming news app. And you can also watch us on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.